All right, folks, this is going to be a uninstall slash install. Now, we've got the FC140 Commander Thermalright, but in this video, towards the end of it, we're going to replace it with this Phantom Spirit 120. All right, so put that box out of the way. Now, going to be some similarities in this. We're taking away 140 millimeter CPU cooler, so I'm taking the fan brackets off, and I'm going to, I've already borrowed the Y cable off of this. Just so you know, you will have to unattach the Y cable. And so I'm just going to put these aside somewhere safe. Now I usually, either I'll put these back in the box or I will find a plastic baggie for all the parts. I have so many CPU coolers, folks, it's a little ridiculous. But, you know, as long as they keep being useful for newer versions, it works out. I'm going to add a little light on this one. Hopefully that doesn't screw up the other cameras. So I've got 3 cameras. On my best channel, which means basically it has the most subscribers, makes the most money, we'll get the 4K 60 camera from above. And then probably on the gaming channel, you'll get 1080p, and Scorpion channel we'll get another 4K, I think 30 FPS. Alright, so we're unscrewing this. This also gives us a chance to look at how good a job did I do with the thermal paste. And I don't think I did that good a job, folks. Actually, more than half of it is either on the CPU or the plate. And you could see on the CPU cooler around the edges of that, it bubbled over. I guess bubbled over is not the right word, but there's enough of it that went past that. So I used enough paste, and we didn't get any in the all over the board. Okay, so this CPU cooler is good to go. Now, this was a bigger one, you know, and honestly, it's probably going to be better than what we're replacing with, but this has 5 pipes on it, and doesn't look like it has a copper base, but it is, you know, a good solid CPU cooler. And I think the CPU we've got here, folks, is a i9-12900kf. I have pretty much nothing but i9s left, which is kind of ridiculous. All right, so most likely this setup that we see here will work with this one. Yeah, it will. So, but we're going to remove this, all right? And, you know, before I forget, these are offset. If you all can see that. So this side is the side you want next to your graphics card, all right? That's going to give you more room to work around. So if I just put that on there now versus flipping it over, we're a little closer to the graphics card if it's on there wrong. So hopefully I'll remember that. Now another thing, let's go ahead and take the plastic label off. And if you have something, you know, to wipe that down with, do that as well. Okay, so we're going to take these parts off, only for the sake of, hey, this is an installation, and then it's an installation so you can see is. If you're happening to check this video out for the sake of, my arm looks like it's getting in the way, for AM4, AM5, I most likely will do another video. I'm trying to do this left-handed so that ginormous arm doesn't get in the way. I'll most likely do another video for that, because it is, you know, at least the base plate and everything's different. So we have so that one came off on its own, which means I'll need pliers. You'll need to hold pliers to that and then unscrew it to get it out of there. And I honestly would just use these parts again, but you know, some of you might not. Obviously not many of you are uninstalling a FC140 Commander to replace with a smaller version. So this is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to get out of here, folks. I flip this over. That's not threaded. And of course, I completely forgot that I have not bolted that down. I need to find a needle nose or something, some kind of plier. So, hopefully I'll remember to edit that out. If not, apologies. And folks, this is going to not work either, probably. Tell me I got to go all the way upstairs to find needle nose pliers. Or you can try again. I moved it just a little bit, I guess, with the pliers, that now I can get it out with my hand. But you may need those. Okay, so base plate drops out. Now, should we use those parts again? That's a good question. So in the box, folks, this is what your base plate looks like. It's got a piece of double-sided tape on here, and I'm not going to take that off for this video, but we will use this one. Now in our bag of parts, looks like we need some scissors, which I've brought. Hopefully the camera's still lined up. You're going to need, doesn't look like you need anything in the AM4 bag, so you can put that aside. You'll need the bag with the spacers, but the one specifically for LGA 1700, all right, which is what those are on the table. And now I would reuse the other ones, but I'm going to put them back in the box. And you know, I want to keep that CPU cooler pretty much complete. Let's say one day I decide to sell it. Maybe they'll go up in value. You know, these Thermalright CPU coolers, for the money, oh my god, they're great. Put your 1151 1200 aside with the other parts, and I need to get these out of here, so hopefully we don't mix them up. And after the video, I'll take that nut off of there. Okay, so now from the video, you could see, or not the video, from the uninstallation, you can see we're going to need the long brackets. There's also thermal paste in here, TF7 thermal paste. We'll use that in the video. And so this other stuff, we can just put it back in the box for another time. We're going to need our 4 brackets, folks, fan brackets, and the Y cable. All right, you guys, you know, you can look at the instructions or just follow along. I'm going to get those out of the way. I don't think I need them. Your base plate, it's set up for LGA 1151 and 1200 as well as 1700. So you want it to be in the furthest most out position, and it should be, hopefully. So there's a lot of ways to do this. If it wasn't for I have that other, I don't have the M.2 plate down, I wouldn't be doing it like this. Okay, so it looks like one of these. So make sure these are all the way out. You can hear the click. And now it should work. So a bunch of different ways you can do this. I wouldn't say that it's too easy to do it just by trying to line these up like so. Boom. You can do it off the table. You can flip the motherboard over. If you use the tape, you can obviously stick it to the bottom of the motherboard and you'll be good to go. All right, but all I did was put the base plate on the mouse pad or rubber mat. Definitely try not to work on a hard surface. And then we ended up from there lining up the holes and dropped it in. Now your spacers, folks, have like a kind of like a graphite ring on them. Maybe a rubber bumper. I always put that down. The directions, at least the last couple times I've looked at them, don't tell you which way it goes. I've always kind of figured that that is a protective coating for your motherboard. Now if it's not, then you know, don't know what the hell it is then. Could watch somebody else's video. I try not to do that though. I might steal a good idea, you know. Now I will say the whole offset thing with the CPU cooler, yours truly did not notice that with the Peerless Assassin 120 SE. Somebody actually had to tell me about that. And if you have a big hunker graphics card, folks, you will realize how nice that is. Now I am going to look at the directions and see if it says anything about parts G and M, if there was a specific way that they were supposed to go in, and it does not tell you that. So from the picture though, it does look like the lighter side, the chrome, whatever that's made out of, steel, actually I guess it's the machine face, we'll call it, is pointing up in the picture. So now I know we just took the other one off. You always want to just get an idea how your fan's going to be oriented. All right, so we put the brackets down, and we know that this guy is going to not go in like that, folks. So and we have the brackets like this. Unless we were trying to blow the air out the top, we wouldn't want it oriented like this, right? Because fresh air is going to come in from the front fans and not necessarily work out so great there for airflow. So we're going to rotate these 90 degrees. And then, like I said, orientation wise, we know we want this side closer to the GPU. So it's going to look like that, all right? So I'm going to put that down to the side. When I grab it, I'll put it exactly into place like it needs to be. So, interesting enough, folks, what we didn't grab out of the bag would be the screws that we need. And the screws you need are in this bag, so unfortunately we will have to open this bag up. So you need the 4 small screws that are in there. And unfortunately, you know, we have 3 cameras and half of them probably don't. Only one of them's really catching most of the action. Alright, so I'm putting the other hardware back. Okay, here is our, these are the screws you're looking for, okay? 4 of those. Alright, and that's what we're going to use to bolt these down. Having a magnetic screwdriver can be useful in this situation. So just put a couple threads on the first one, grab the second. This is going to help you line up this bracket and figure out how it's going to go. Now we can tighten this down. Do the other side next. So if you enjoyed this video, folks, please hit the like button. Maybe even leave a comment. I love positive news. I'm gonna, you know, I think we get a pretty high percentage of positive versus negative, but not always. So, all right. So this actually, you know, is good to go. We have our thermal paste. Now, there's a bunch of ways to put thermal paste on. I'll leave that up to you guys for how you want to go about doing that. I'm going to put 5 blobs on there. And, you know, at worst, folks, if you put too much on, it spills over the side, which can be cleaned up. You know, could you do damage? I have yet to damage a CPU yet from that, but you don't want to put a ridiculous amount on there. Now, if you put too little on, that's going to be a problem, right? So if you're not really sure that you put enough on, you know, let's say I put a dab in the middle. I put my CPU cooler, I tighten my CPU cooler all the way down. I then pick the CPU cooler, unfasten it, and verify if indeed that thermal paste is spread to cover that 100% of the CPU. This base plate on this thing is bigger than CPU, so it will basically be in the shape of this CPU. Kind of part of the reason why I showed you what I showed you earlier, all right? So now in the old days, like M.2 would just say put a 4 to 5 millimeter diameter blob right in the middle. Sometimes that works. You can do 3 lines. This may be a little more thermal paste than I would like. Alright, so like I said, putting this on in a certain way, alright? Just so you can see that. The offset is going to hang more to what would be the top of your case versus the bottom of the case. And if we're lucky, folks, that lines up. I'm going to switch to the number 2 Phillips. Now I just want to get a couple of threads on this one, which I did, and then I'm going to switch over to the other one. And we'll rotate this so hopefully the good camera will see that. Alright, so we got a few threads on that one. Now we're going to put a few more on the other one. I'm just going to alternate. This is going to spread that thermal paste evenly across the CPU. So this is a sharp looking design. We don't even have the fans on it. I like the towers. You know, I used to be a pretty much Noctua only guy. Anybody else's stuff I felt was garbage. And you know, some of this stuff these guys make, whether they came out with it before Noctua or not, I don't know. But I've always kind of felt like everybody's been an imitator of Noctua. But the reality is, you know, with patents and stuff, people have to improve upon the existing design. So usually you can't just copy a design verbatim, which is why I like all the mountings are completely different, and it drives you nuts. So folks, this motherboard has a CPU fan, a CPU optional. We got a Y cable. We're going to use the Y cable. All right. We could, you know, split that up, not use the Y cable, but some motherboards you'll find only have one. And so we are going to use the one header. That'll ensure the fan speeds definitely stay the same. All right. Now our fan, folks, intake side. All right. You see where the label is, or the Thermalright symbol. Then on the back is the description and the hub that the fan is connected to. This is the exhaust side. All right, so let me see here if we can do this. We want to tie this, figure out how we can tie this cable up a little. I think we'll come in like this. Actually, maybe I'll go back the other way. Sorry. Alright, so I'm going to put this bracket in. I'm trying to capture this cable with the bracket so it doesn't flop all over the place. And usually I load up both of the fan brackets, but for the sake of this video, we'll do these one at a time. Now, I don't like the way that is sitting on there. We could go underneath and around, which may look better. It may not. It all depends. Depends on if you want to have a lot of slack that you gotta use a cable tie. And then, of course, the brackets are going to stick together. So now we have this other side, and normally I don't recommend, you know, moving your computer around via the CPU cooler, but this thing's on there pretty firm. So now we put the other one through the hole, and boom. All right, so intake side, right, sucking in cool air, blowing it across this tower, this heat sink, and then it's going to go into the next fan. All right. Now this one's probably going to be a little harder to get in. And you might want to put both fan brackets on ahead of time. Same side. Now folks, if you don't have your fans going in the same direction, you're not doing them any favors. We're creating more turbulent airflow than laminar, right? We want to have nice smooth airflow. And so I kept that on both of them amazingly, and it worked. Boom. So there's that. Now, this is one of my favorite motherboards, by the way. I'm surprised my i9-13900kf is not in here, but second favorite CPU's in here, the i9-12900KS. All right, so we have the 4-pin into the Y cable on one fan, and then we're going to put the second one in. And then you can see we still have a lot of cable to deal with. I'm going to put this in the light gray one, and it can go in only one way. Notice the protrusion, gray protrusion sticking up, and voila. There you go, folks. So you now have a badass CPU cooler. It's sharp looking. It will perform. I have no doubt. Total confidence in Thermalright. I believe that is German designed, but Chinese manufactured. But it is high quality, and I think you guys will be happy with it. Now, I am not a Thermalright spokesman, but I have bought a lot of their shit. One day, hopefully, they will hook me up with new products. Yes, if you're out there, Thermalright, I'm a fan. Not too a fan too, but yeah. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe.